Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video you are going to be learning how to make this beautiful gown. It's very simple, and if this is what you seems interested in, please stay tuned until the end of this tutorial. Now let me briefly explain what this Bubu kaftan looks like. So you can see there is a pleat at the shoulder, about two pleats, and it has a slit around the neckline. It comes with a circular neck as well. Going over to the down part, it has a slit down there about 10 inches away from the hem. Now this is the material I'm going to be using, and it's a doll face bridal satin. You can make use of a mikado silk or a duchess, whichever it is that you want to use. I'm going to be showing you how to fold this material on this paper. First, you're going to fold horizontally, and after that you fold again vertically, making it four folds. So on this fold we are going to be having both our front and our back together. This is a cut together gown. It's not going to have a separate shoulder. So after folding, you have to pin your materials together so as not to move around when you are inputting your shape. So after folding, we have to go down and measure out our bust point. After that, you measure your waistline and then your hip line, then the knee length, and also the length of the gown. So length of my gown, I'm going to be making use of 60 inches. So you're going to have to measure yourself from your shoulder down to wherever you want your gown to be. But basically this gown is actually very beautiful when it's touching the floor, okay? But mine, I made it very moderate so that I want to be able to wear this gown anywhere I'm going to. So after that, you connect your lines. After you connect your line, the next step for you to take is to measure out your neckline. Guys, you can see that my chalk is not very visible right here, but if you follow what I'm doing, just glue your eye to the screen and you will understand everything I am trying to explain right now. So my front neckline, I'm going to be using 4 inches, that is for the wideness, and for the depth I made use of 3 inches, okay, because I'm still going to have a slit at the front. Then for the back, I made use of 1.5 inches for the depth and the same width, okay, that is 4 inches. So after that, I connected my line. I made use of a free hand. If you don't know how to eyeball this, you can make use of your curved ruler. Then after that, I went ahead to insert my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 15 inches, that is 7.5 inches. Now I went ahead to insert my sleeve length. Okay, so I added 10 inches for my sleeve length. That is from the shoulder. I added 10 inches, and after that I went ahead to add up 8 inches for my pleats. Okay, I want mine to be 8 inches. If you want yours as bold as the one on the screen, not the one I made, you can insert 10 inches, 12 inches, or whatever you want. Now after that, from that line that I've finished marking out at the shoulder, I went down by 11 inches. That is where I want my sleeve opening to fall. All right, so I marked out 11 inches. The next step I'm going to take right now is to insert my hip measurements. Okay, we don't need too much measurements for this dress. What we actually need is the shoulder, sleeve length, and the hip, okay, and the length of your gown. Now my hip measurement is 44 inches divided by 4. I have 11 inches plus 8 inches. That is the 8 inches that I marked out previously on the shoulder, plus 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I marked it out on my hip, but then it depends on where you want your coat shape to fall. For me, I'm going to measure out whatever I have on my hip. I will input it down to my knee length, and then I will connect my coat shape. Okay, That is where I want my coat shape to fall. If you want it to fall on your hip, you go ahead and connect it from your shoulder to your hip. But mine, I connected from my shoulder down to my knee length. So after I connected that, you go ahead and connect the remaining part of the shape straight down to the length of your gown. Now, after connecting to the length of your gown, you're going to go ahead and start cutting out the shape of your gown. So I've gone ahead to cut the down parts. What you're going to do next is to place your tape right at the hem and then bring it up to 10 inches. This 10 inches is going to serve as the opening right on the down part, and then you go ahead and connect your lines properly well. And after you connect this, the next step you are going to take is to cut out the neck line. Okay, so you're going to have to cut out the back neck first and then leave the front neck. You're going to come back to this. After this, go ahead and cut out the remaining shape of your gown. And then after you cut it out, go back and cut out the remaining part of your neckline, which is the front neck. But before you cut it out, you're going to have to open up your gown so that you have the back separate and the front separate. Okay, after you are done with this, you're going to have to also slash the front to have a slit. So go down to 4 inches, but it depends on how deep you want your slits. So for mine, I went down by 4 inches and then slitted it. After that, this is what I'm going to be using for my facing. I folded it into two, making sure that the folded part is facing the folded part of my actual gown, and then I'll go ahead and trace out the neckline. After you trace out the neckline, make sure to also have the front slitted, and then you mark out the shape that you want for the facing. Now I want the back facing to be shorter than the front facing. Okay, so I went ahead to mark out 3 inches for the back and then 5 inches for the front, or you can go down by 6 inches. Okay, this is the facing. You can see it has the same shape as the neck of my gown. Now the next thing you are going to do is to open up your gown. So open it this way and then place your facing right side facing the actual gown. Okay, so the right side of your facing is going to be facing the right side of your gown, and then use your pins to hold it all around and go to your sewing machine and stitch all this around using 1/2 inch. After you stitch it, this is what you should have. Now you're going to bring in your hemming gum and then you place on top of this facing. Okay, this is because if you turn it around, you're still going to insert a hemming gum to bind your facing to your gown. Okay, But instead of going through that process, you're going to have to place it right now and use a steaming iron to hold down the hemming gum on the facing, and before you then turn it around. Okay, and also you can see that I've gone ahead to weave the rough edges of the facing. So this is what it looks like after we turn this over to the wrong side, and then to the right side, this is what it looks like. So now go ahead and iron this properly well, and then it's time for us to insert our pleats. So for the pleats, you're going to have to locate the middle of your neckline. After you locate the middle of your neckline, you know that your shoulder is about 8 inches. Okay, no, 7 inches, 7.5 inches, that is for my shoulder. So I'm going to mark that out, and then plus 8 inches, which you're going to use for the pleat. Okay, so this 8 inches, you're going to mark it out 4 inches separately. So you mark out for the first pleat 4 inches, and then for the second pleat 4 inches, meaning that if you want to hold this down, you're going to hold it 2 inches, okay, on both ends. I don't know if you understood me. But now, if that is kind of very difficult for you, I want to show you how you are going to make this very easy for yourself. Okay, so what I did was to fold my fabric into two, locating the middle of my gown. So once you fold it, this is what you should have. So I'm trying to make sure that I get the middle of my gown, and then you place a notch indicating that that is actually the middle. So what you are going to do next is to use your iron and iron this out. So after ironing this, you're going to notice that you would have a line at the middle. Okay, so iron this to make sure that you create that line for it to be visible for you to enough to make your pleat. So after I was done with the other side, I went ahead to repeat the same thing to the back part. So I've done the front, and now I went ahead to also repeat the same thing to the back, because this pleat we are going is going to run through from the front down to the back. Okay, so once you are done ironing this and you open this, you can see that we have a line right in the middle. Now what next you are going to do is to start creating your pleat. And to create your pleat, you are going to first of all measure out your neck width. That is, from that middle you have to locate your neck width, which I use 4 inches for my neck width. Okay, so I went ahead to mark it out. After you mark these 4 inches, go ahead again and mark out 4 inches for one part and 4 inches for the other pleat. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and mark this all the way to the hem. So right now I'm trying to mark out the 4 inches for the neck width, and once I am done, I'm going to mark out 4 inches for my first pleat, and then 4 inches for my second pleat. Okay, now after I mark this out, you're going to have to locate the middle of the 4 inches, meaning that when you hold this, you're going to have to hold 2 inches. Okay, I don't know if you can get me. And then after we're done holding this down, this is what we have. Now you guys, I want to explain something. The first pleat was held down to the hem, and then the second pleat was held down to the code shape, so it didn't exceed the code shape. So if you are making yours, try to take note of that. Now, once you are done with this, the next thing you're going to do is to go right to your weaving machine and weave the rough edges. And after you are done with that, go ahead and hem the down parts and then stitch your side seam. But when you are stitching the side seam, you are going to have to take note of the opening that you left on the down part, and then also take note of your sleeve opening. Okay, so you guys, this is actually how the dress came out. You can see it's actually looking very beautiful on me. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up to get more people to watch it. Subscribe if you haven't done yet, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.